let me clean up everything. Next slide. Capsule can work on any major cloud provider, and now I'm going to show you how can you install and integrate Capsule on Amazon EKS, so the Elastic Kubernetes Service. For the sake of timing, the cluster has been already created, and I'm going to show you my dashboard on AWS. So this is the cluster detail. I created a cluster based on 122. The name of the cluster is Capsule in the region Ireland. And I already attached also a node group. Why the node group is so required and is so mandatory in this example? Because as you can see here, EKS supports the integration with an external OpenID provider. If I recall correctly, it should be here in not resources, compute, networking, add-ons, authentication. So you can associate your identity provider. Right now, I'm not using that. You can do that. It's totally OIDC compatible, so it works smoothly. But I would like to show you how can you use the users of Amazon Web Services of AWS with your EKS. So right now, I created that cluster. I already created the users. Well, the users has been created, yeah, but I already created also the node group. But let's see what we have to do. So pretty sure the users must have the access to get the Capsule cluster. With get, I'm referring to describe the cluster. Why this? Because with that, we need the Kube-Config. But before getting the Kube-Config for Alice, we have to get the original Kube-Config required to interact with the API server, because we have to install Capsule over there. So with that said, I have to retrieve the command to get the Kube-Config. So I'm exporting Kube-Config tmp AWS. I'm touching the file just to be sure that it exists. And I'm issuing AWS profile CLASTIX EKS update Kube-Config region. It was EU West 1 and the name is Capsule. Okay, in fact, we can access this Kubernetes cluster, and here it is. We already got Capsule's system. Let me check if we got something there, but we don't have anything. Yeah. So with that said, what we have to get Capsule on EKS, we just need to install it using Helm. So I'm using Helm upgrade to install Capsule with the release CLASTIX Capsule in the namespace Capsule system. And in case it doesn't exist namespace, I'm going to create it. So using that Kube-Config, that is the admin Kube-Config, I'm installing Capsule. We just need to wait a few seconds. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, yeah, I totally forgot that. Let me change some values. Because I was using, oh no, it was quick. I was using low resources, so it could have taken so many time. But as you can see here, Capsule has been installed. So we got our CRDs, we got obviously the Amazon ones, then we got our tenants. And now what we have to do is to retrieve the credentials of Alice. Keep in mind that Alice is a user that has been defined in a group Capsule CLASTIX.io. As you can see here, we got Alice, Dario, it's me, Dario, and Bob. And each user is granted with an access key and a secret access key. I already stored that in my AWS configuration file, credentials file. And we are granting also some permissions because these permissions are required to get the Kube-Config of the cluster. So just to show you, we got permission on EKS to read a described cluster, the Capsule one in our account. So with that said, what I have to do is to issue AWS, well, first of all, touch TMP AWS Alice export Kube-Config TMP AWS Alice and AWS profile Alice EKS update Kube-Config region EU West 1 name Capsule. So we got our credentials. These are stored. And in fact, if we try to issue kubectl get namespace, it's not going to work because it's forbidden. It means that we have to put in place the airbag. But we know that Capsule is supercharging Kubernetes with its multi-tenancy. So what we have to do is to issue the command to create a namespace. So kubectl create namespace Solar development. And we are getting the Capsule error. Why this? Because we have to register the user in the config map of the EKS cluster. So the admin has as previously registered the user. So in the Kube system, there is a config map named AWS auth. If I try to edit that, you can notice that we got the map roles and we got also the map users. So I'm saying that the user with the following ARN must be recognized as Alice and is part of the group Capsule CLASTIX.io. So Alice is our tenant owner. Capsule CLASTIX.io is the group that we are using to intercept the requests that are issued by eligible tenant owners. So with this configuration, with this mapping, we are creating a connection between the user concept inside Kubernetes with the user concept in AWS. But now, obviously, Alice cannot create any tenant because we are missing the tenant. Well, cannot create any namespace because we are missing the tenant. So what we have to do is to issue cat eof kubectl apply -f. So the tenant Solar owned by Alice and the tenant has been created. I can watch for changes. And now as Alice, I can create again the namespace and it's going to succeed. And the namespace has been added to the tenant and Alice can operate that tenant. Just to show you, get tenant Solar -o YAML. Solar development has been added and it's owned by Alice. So as you can see here, beside the time to wait for the EKS cluster, the configuration of the user mapping in the AWS auth config map, you can use Capsule on EKS using the credentials and using the users that are defined in your IAM settings. And with that, we are finished. We have just finished our demo on EKS. I can delete the cluster later. We are spending a lot of resources to test it. And now it's